Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. Happy Friday, everybody. Today I want to talk to you about the market oversaturation for Masterpiece Transformers, which is a good thing for pretty much everybody. Well, every collector, that is. We're going to take a look at the past and kind of how we got into this situation. Then we're going to look a bit into the future and how oversaturation now could affect the future. We're going to discuss the impact of these upcoming Fans Toys KOs. And guess what? I did reach out to Show Z and asked, is this real? And will you be carrying it? And I got direct answers. I'm going to share all this and more coming up. So looking back at 2018, that's when I really started paying real close attention to what was going on in the Masterpiece market. And I was looking to see how long stuff sat on shelves. Hoodlum sat there for 10 months before getting discounted and then eventually sold out. Same thing with Coot. Also with Rouge. Rouge, it seemed like you couldn't give her away. But again, now she's selling for quite a bit on the secondary market because she's not available. And then Quietus was the only one that bucked the trend, sold in about 2 months, sold out completely. But there were 2 months that it was in stock everywhere for the $160 price point back in 2018. 2019 brought us what we thought was lower production numbers from Fans Toys. What everybody's trying to say is Fans Toys made lower production runs so they can make more figures, and that's what I was hearing from a lot of people. But then we started seeing this overnight reissue as it pops up overnight. 3 weeks later, it's already at the distributors, just out of the blue. That's where the whole held back stock theory came from. But 2019 is important because if they really did produce less, are they going to repeat that same process? But by the time 2020 got here, it was really hard to get Masterpiece Transformers. Pre-orders sold out immediately. There was very little to no extra stock when items were getting issued or released. The big reason for that was because people had extra time to invest in the hobby, extra money to invest in the hobby, and were willing to pay extra prices by multiples. Scalpers were out there buying up multiples to sell later. And then 2021 was the year of reissues and the highest prices we have ever seen. Not just with reissues. Reissues were double the price from Fans Toys, but we saw other figures getting more and more expensive, newly released figures breaking records that we haven't seen before. Fast forward to today, where we have an oversaturation, an abundance of figures on the market, multiple characters of the same character by different companies to choose from, figures going on sale and clearance left and right. It's a good time to collect. Fast forward to 2022, there is so much available right now, from multiple options of a Huffer, multiple options of a Sea Spray, multiple options of Bugs that have all been reissued and are pretty easy. Yeah, I think right now MMCs are the only ones that are sold out. Looking at TF Source, and the reason I'm not showing Show Z so much because they have the lowest price, so they sell out really fast, and that's why they don't have as much inventory. Also, TF Source, I believe, gets the most product, so they have the most on hand, and will probably have the best sales because they do have higher prices and a lot of inventory, which is a good reason that I utilize them as a backup. So anyway, looking at this here, lots of stuff going on, lots of clearance, lots of discounts, lots of product that's readily available and easy to get. Now, we didn't see this in 2022. If you pulled up TF Source pretty much anytime, there'd be one, maybe two figures in stock, and they'd be astronomically overpriced. And so we're seeing a correction of the price in the market right now. Now, it's not just Fans Toys. A lot of people like to just pick on Fans Toys. But you can look right here. There are discounts on X-Transbot Savant. There's discounts on their Caprizimo. Okay, I said that wrong. Anyway, a lot of these figures are getting discounted, clearanced out. Neptune's an excellent figure. There's a reissue of Ollie coming. There's a lot of good stuff going on right now with X-Transbots. I think it's like 5 pages of stuff with the X-Transbots. It's crazy. Anyway, looking at the KFC stuff going on right now, there's not a whole lot going on with KFC, so there's just not a whole lot going on with them. So their prices are staying pretty steady, and there's not a bunch of clearance on that. But with the Blaster Wars coming up, Transistor for $150, that might start seeing some clearance. It's an old mold. Here's some Bad Cube going on with their reissue items, and a lot of this stuff is in stock. Some of it's up for pre-order. So it's pretty cool that there's so many options that are out there. So the first good point was a lot of options. I showed you a lot of options that are out there. Just quick and easy, fun. But the other thing is you can actually get what you want. This chop is in stock right now. You can go order it. Show Z's is a little cheaper, $40 cheaper, but it's a pre-order for whatever reason. So I guess they're getting another shipment of it. So that's kind of cool. I don't know whole details behind all of that. But with this chop is readily available, easy to get, and that's not what we were seeing in 2022 or even a big part of 2021. The new figures, especially a figure like this that's been in high demand, is kind of hard to get your hands on in the past, but easy right now. And when it comes to price and the sales, I just think the sales are going to get even deeper and deeper and deeper until, of course, they eventually sell out of a run. So that is the good. That is the good that's going on. Let's look at the secondary market prices. I looked at a variety of figures on the secondary market. As you can see, Hydra is still high priced. It's still hard to get because it was one of those figures from back in 2018. Sat on the shelves for a long time. And I don't even remember if it even had a reissue or not. But we haven't seen this in 4 years at retail. So that's why it has a huge secondary market price. So looking at the same thing with Hoodlum, which my predictions here, these ones that I see high priced, I'm betting they get reissued eventually or pretty soon. So that's why I like to point them out. And then Quietus. Now you can look at Quietus getting a reissue. When we see the reissue show up, and when we see the KO, which we're about to get into talking about that, show up, these prices are going to drop. And that's all there is to it. And yes, even though the reissue price is pretty high at $220 for a lot of places, it's still, there's no reason people are going to go into eBay to pay $285. And Spindrift 2.0, I don't even see Spindrift 1.0 anymore. I just searched for Spindrift. Is that a 1.0 there for 100? Oh, I guess that is the 1.0 for 100, right in front of me. But for the most part, most of them are the 2.0 that people are trying to sell, which is strange. I would think they'd be trying to offload their 1.0s. But anyway, getting into the Dune Rider. Now, Dune Rider is starting to shoot up in price because he's starting to sell out of places, and that's just the way it goes. But he's still easy to get for a pretty reasonable price. So let's get into talking about the scalper situation. Now, this is a double-edged sword. Everybody wants to complain about scalpers. Oh, this dude is showing off he's got 6 of whatever figure, and then that person sells them maybe immediately for trying to get a couple extra bucks, waits 6 months, asks twice the price, waits 3 years and asks 4 times the price. So that's kind of what goes on. I think that if you hold on to something for longer than a year, you're no longer a scalper, you're an investor. And so with that, the scalpers are usually the people at Walmart taking the picture in the line and putting it on eBay before they've even paid for it. Those are the scalpers. This is more of an investor, and less people are scalping and investing Masterpiece because of the oversaturation. So what does it matter if people stop buying 6 of every figure? At the same time that we're seeing a lot of people slow down on their collecting. A lot of people aren't in on these replacement figures. Well, some are replacement and some are not. But what does that mean? Well, it means that less of these figures are going to be sold. Less product is getting bought. And after a while, the market will correct. The market as in manufacturers start making less. If there's any truth to Fans Toys cutting back in the 2019 range and producing less quantity, instead of 6,000, they made 2,000, theoretically. If there's any truth to that, we'd repeat history. They would do the same thing they did. They would just cut back on their production, and that would be a negative for all collectors in the future. Now, I'm not praising the action of scalping. I'm just throwing out technicals that are part of a numerical situation that we are in, why these things sell so well, because people buy multiples. If people stop buying multiples, like I myself was buying 2 of every Fans Toys so I could have 1 of each mode, but I decided I didn't have the space for that, so I stopped. I think a lot of other people are in the same situation, scalper or not. They don't buy doubles anymore. So I want to get into talking about this KO situation again. And the thing about it is, when the reissue pops up at the same time as a KO, it starts to sound a little fishy. It starts to sound a little odd, a little strange. There's got to be some level of correlation between a reissue and a KO at the exact same time. It just doesn't make any sense Or maybe it makes too much sense. Maybe the KO is getting KO'd from the reissue. I don't know exactly how that would work, but it just seems really odd. A lot of people feel like this is an inside job from Fans Toys, and I 100% believe it is not. And here's why. So Show Z got back to me, and they answered my question whether or not this is real. Is it just hype? Is it fake? And the question on that is, they said it is real. It is happening. It is coming. But they will not carry it. So that shows the channel power of Fans Toys. Fans Toys has that power over most of the distributors. Now, there are two currently that I know that are selling the Oh My Primus and TF Direct. Now, I've actually done business with TF Direct in the past, so I do believe that that's a reputable retailer, and I'll be able to get one from them. So I ordered one of each from TF Direct to check them out, see the quality, all that kind of stuff, and compare. But I get almost all, well, pretty much all of my KOs from Show Z, and Show Z chooses not to carry these. So all I gotta say is enjoy this market saturation while it is going on right now. It may last a couple more years, but after a while, product sitting on the market for too long results in one of two or three things happening. Either the companies produce less, they do a production run and create the false scarcity like Fans Toys did for a long time, or we get mucho mumbo jumbo sales going on. And hey, that's the good part. I'm really enjoying the sales. So what do you think about this almost golden, maybe silver age of Transformer Masterpiece collecting, where we have a market oversaturation? We have the ability to get anything that we want, anything our heart desires, that's been released relatively recently. Are you one of those people that cut back on collecting two of each? Are you one of the scalpers or investors that don't buy six anymore, you just buy the one for yourself? And do you think we'll ever see Fort Max or a completed Fans Toys Combiner? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Tiberium Hanger out.